Let me tell you something. You're not stuck. You're not trapped. You're not cornered. You're just undisciplined. It's easy to say, I don't have time, or I don't know where to start, or it's just too hard. But let's cut through the noise. Most of the time, the problem isn't lack of resources, it's lack of responsibility. You know what you need to do. You just keep choosing not to do it. And here's the truth. Nothing changes until you stop lying to yourself. You're not stuck. You're choosing comfort over growth. You're choosing short-term ease over long-term peace. Every time you hit snooze, every time you skip the workout, every time you break your promise to yourself, you're not stuck. You're just choosing the easy way out. But easy has a price, and it's paid in regret. Winners, they're not waiting for a good mood to show up. They're not sitting around hoping for motivation to knock on their door. They move, they execute, they show up, rain or shine. Think about the greatest athletes, the most successful people you admire. They didn't wait until they felt like showing up. They trained when it was inconvenient. They worked when nobody was watching. They acted when they were scared, tired, doubting, exhausted. Why? Because they knew something you need to hear. Readiness is a myth. You'll never feel perfectly ready. Life doesn't hand out green lights. You create momentum by moving, not by waiting. If you came here looking for a soft, gentle whisper of encouragement, let me stop you right now. This isn't a bedtime story. This is a mirror being held up to your life. You don't need another motivational quote. You need truth. Real, raw, in-your-face truth. You've wasted enough time planning, stalling, doubting. You've talked about goals. You've dreamed about changes, but talk is cheap. Dreams mean nothing if they never wake up into action. This is your wake-up call. Your comfort zone is not your friend, it's a slow death. And every day you stay there, you shrink. Your energy fades, your confidence drains, and eventually your potential dies quietly while your excuses keep talking. I don't have time is the lie people tell themselves when they don't want to face the truth. Their standards are too low. You make time for what matters, period. You scroll for hours, binge shows, repeat bad habits, but say you're too busy to invest in your goals? No, you don't lack time. You lack discipline. You lack commitment. You've settled for mediocre when you were built for more. Raise your standard. Decide that skipping isn't an option. That maybe tomorrow isn't in your vocabulary anymore. If you want to build something meaningful, you got to stop living by convenience and start living by conviction. Here's what I promise you. If you stick with this message, if you take it seriously, you'll walk away with a mindset that no longer begs for motivation or makes excuses for failure. By the end of this, the version of you that kept stalling, that kept folding under pressure, that kept dancing with distractions will be gone. Because from this point on, you're going to stop negotiating with weakness. You're going to stop explaining why you can't. And you're going to start proving that you can. Discipline isn't something you try. It's something you live. And today, you start living it. Let me be real with you. Motivation is a liar. A slick, sweet-talking liar that promises change and delivers nothing. It tells you you'll start tomorrow. It whispers, let's wait until you're in the mood. It makes excuses sound noble, like resting when you haven't even started working. But here's the truth. How many dreams has motivation helped you finish? Not start, finish. You know the answer. Motivation lies because it's emotional. And emotions change with the wind. One day you're fired up, the next you're full of doubt. You can't build anything solid on a shaky foundation like that. And yet, so many people sit around waiting for that magical surge to hit, waiting for the right vibe, the perfect time. Let me ask you, how long have you been waiting? You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another podcast episode. You need a mission, something so deep, so clear, and so personal that quitting stops being an option. You think Navy SEALs feel like diving into freezing water at 4 a.m.? You think Olympic athletes feel like training when they're sore, tired, and behind in points? They don't need a mood. They have a mission. That's the difference. Mission builds movement. Mood builds excuses. You need something to wake up for that's bigger than your comfort. You need a reason that makes discipline feel like freedom, not punishment. You're not lazy, you're untrained. You've trained yourself to wait until it feels right. Now it's time to retrain yourself to move regardless. Imagine if a firefighter said, "I'll put out the fire once I'm in the mood." Ridiculous, right? But that's exactly how we treat our own responsibilities. Discipline isn't about being robotic. It's about being reliable. Don't train your mind to obey your feelings. Train it to obey your goals. Every rep, every email, every hard conversation, do it without hesitation. That's where freedom lives. Life doesn't hand out trophies for intention. It doesn't reward your moods. It rewards your follow-through. You can feel like a champion all you want, but unless you show up, deliver, and finish, no one's clapping. Your feelings are valid. They deserve to be heard, but they don't deserve to run your life. You can cry and grind. You can doubt and act. You can feel scared and take the next step. Because at the end of the day, results are earned by consistency, not emotion. Motivation might start the fire, but it burns out quick. Discipline, that's the engine that keeps running when everything else shuts down. Motivation says, go hard when it's fun. Discipline says, go harder when it's not. Think of motivation like a match. It lights fast, it dies faster. But discipline, that's a diesel engine. Tough to start, but once it's moving, unstoppable. If you want a life that lasts, stop depending on sparks. Build the engine. Let's talk about what happens when the music stops. The hype dies down and no one's clapping. That's when you meet discipline. Discipline is showing up after the thrill is gone. It's that quiet voice at 6 a.m. that says, get up. It's what keeps you going when the newness wears off and all that's left is effort. Anyone can work when it's exciting. Anyone can grind when eyes are on them. But what do you do when no one's watching? That's discipline. It's what remains when motivation disappears. People love to say, I'm just not a disciplined person, as if it's some trait you're born with, like eye color or height. That's garbage. Discipline isn't genetic, it's a decision. You don't stumble into discipline. You commit to it. Every day you wake up, you choose, do I follow through or fold? You don't need more inspiration. You need more decisions. Small ones, repeated ones, daily ones. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you become more disciplined. And every time you break it, you teach yourself you can't be trusted. So stop asking how to get disciplined and start deciding to be disciplined. If I followed you around for 30 days, I could predict your future. Not based on what you hope for, but based on your habits. Discipline is the pattern. Your results are the reflection. If you hit snooze every morning, scroll every hour, break every commitment, you don't have a life problem. You have a repetition problem. What you do daily becomes who you are permanently. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. And your standards live inside your routines. Change your patterns. Change your outcomes. We live in a world designed to hijack your attention. Notifications, temptations, empty validation, it's all coming for your focus. Discipline is the armor you wear to protect your energy. It's what helps you say no to the junk, no to the shortcuts, no to the noise. Every time you resist distraction, you reinforce your purpose. Every time you stay focused, you prove to the world and to yourself that your time isn't up for auction. Put your armor on. Your future depends on it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be superhuman. You just need to be consistent. Look at real people who thrive under pressure. The single mom working 2 jobs and still starting her business at midnight. The student grinding to graduate despite zero support. The recovering addict rebuilding a life brick by brick. You think they had it easy? No, but they had discipline. They made the decision to keep going when it would have been easier to quit. They faced pressure and they answered it with persistence. And so can you, because you don't need a perfect plan. You need relentless discipline, day in, day out. No matter how you feel, you say you're tired. But are you really? Or are you just tired of doing what's uncomfortable? Let's get this straight. You're not broken. You're not too busy. You're addicted to ease, addicted to the path of least resistance, addicted to convenience. You scroll instead of studying. You complain instead of committing. You numb yourself with comfort and call it rest. But rest is earned. Numbing is not. Let me ask you, when was the last time you were truly exhausted because you gave your all, not because you gave in? You're not tired from effort. You're tired from avoidance. Excuses don't always show up in obvious ways. They come dressed in logic. They wear the suit of self-care, the jacket of just not the right time, the badge of I'm being realistic. But underneath, weakness, fear, delay. Excuses are liars wearing masks. They make you feel better now while robbing your future quietly. You say you're protecting your mental health, but you're really avoiding discomfort. You say you're waiting until you're ready, but you're just scared to start. You have to strip the excuses down to what they really are: protection from pain. But growth requires pain. The more excuses you make, the further your goals move away from you. Every excuse is a step backward. Comfort feels safe, but it's not freedom, it's confinement with cushions. That routine that never challenges you, that schedule with no structure, that life with no stretch, that's a cage. You think you're free because nothing's pressing you, but nothing's progressing you either. The problem with comfort is it tricks you. It whispers, stay here, it's good enough, but good enough is the enemy of great. And eventually, the cushions turn into walls. You forget what hunger feels like. You forget what effort demands. And when you finally try to break free, your muscles are weak and your mind is soft. You gotta break out before it buries you alive. Procrastination doesn't feel dangerous. It feels like a break, a breath, a pause. But don't be fooled, it's a thief. It steals silently. 1 hour, 1 day, one opportunity at a time. You say, I'll do it later. But later never shows up. And while you're waiting, someone else is outworking you, outgrowing you, outrunning you. You want more out of life? You can't afford to keep paying procrastination with your potential. Every delay is a debt you owe your future self. And the interest, it shows up as stress, regret, and wasted time. Discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the door. Every breakthrough lives on the other side of what makes you uncomfortable. But here's the trap. If you avoid discomfort long enough, it starts owning you. Your tolerance weakens. Your confidence shrinks. Your ability to push through, gone. Think about it. When's the last time you intentionally made yourself uncomfortable, woke up early, had the hard talk, showed up when you didn't feel like it? Growth never comes from ease. Champions aren't made in comfort. They're forged in friction. Master discomfort, or spend the rest of your life being mastered by mediocrity. Let's not sugarcoat it. An undisciplined life feels good in the moment, but it falls apart in the long run. No routines, you drift. No priorities, you stall. No boundaries, you burn out. Without structure, chaos takes over. And where there's chaos, there is no peace, only noise, stress, and disorder. Discipline doesn't cage your freedom, it creates it. It puts your life in order. It aligns your actions with your purpose. Structure isn't a burden, it's the bridge to peace. Every time you make an excuse, you lose time. I'll start tomorrow. That's a day lost. I'm not feeling it today. That's momentum lost. I'm just too busy. That's your dream drifting. You think your excuses are free, but they're draining your most valuable asset, your time. Look back at the last year. How many excuses did you make? Now look at where you are. That gap between where you should be and where you are, that's the price of excuses. And the worst part, time doesn't give refunds. Drifting through life can feel nice. No resistance, no pressure, no direction. But then one day, you look around and you don't recognize your life. You don't know who you are. You're lost. Not because of a storm, but because you never steered. You didn't choose discipline, so you let the world choose for you. You went wherever the current took you. And now, you're unfulfilled, underdeveloped, unrecognizable to the person you once wanted to become. Don't let your life drift into regret. You need to take the wheel. Yes, discipline hurts. Waking up early hurts. Saying no hurts. Doing the hard thing hurts. But regret is a wound that doesn't close. It follows you, haunts you. It whispers, you could have been more. You can take pain now through effort, or take pain later through failure. Discipline gives you temporary discomfort. Regret gives you permanent disappointment. Make the trade. Take the hit now so you don't carry it for the rest of your life. You think skipping workouts, sleeping in, eating what you want, and doing whatever you feel like makes you free? That's not freedom. That's bondage in disguise. Because now you're a slave to your impulses, to your cravings, to the version of you that settles. Real freedom is earned. It comes from control, from boundaries, from ownership. You want to be free? Then master your time, master your energy, master your actions. Because if you don't lead your life, your impulses will. And they won't take you anywhere you want to go. Before you change your habits, you need to change your identity. Don't say, I'm trying to be disciplined. Say, I'm someone who follows through. There's a difference. People who try still allow negotiations. People who decide make it non-negotiable. A runner doesn't ask, should I run today? They just run because that's who they are. You need to stop chasing goals with an unsure identity. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to the identity you believe in. So who are you? Someone who quits or someone who conquers? Decide, then act like it. Most people make quitting too easy. They give themselves back doors, soft landings, little emotional pillows to fall on. You have to flip that. Make quitting painful, public goals, visible accountability, real consequences. Remove the option of maybe tomorrow. Burn the exit routes. At the same time, make taking action automatic. Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Schedule your top priorities the night before. Turn the first step into a trigger, not a choice. When action becomes easier than inaction, momentum is born. And momentum is how mountains get moved. Willpower fades. Systems don't. That's why the most successful people don't rely on feeling strong. They build systems that make strength automatic. They automate workouts. They block distractions. They batch hard tasks. They plan meals, workouts, and sleep. They remove guesswork. If you leave your success up to willpower, you're gambling. But if you design your days with purpose, you win even when your feelings don't show up. Discipline is built in the design. So build smart. The secret to mastery? Boredom. Anyone can do something when it's exciting. But when it becomes dull, repetitive, thankless, that's where champions are made. Kobe Bryant shot the same shot thousands of times. Serena Williams served the same ball, drilled the same strokes over and over. They didn't chase the feeling. They chased the result. And the result lives in repetition. Boring, consistent, unsexy repetition. If you can fall in love with the boring stuff, you become unstoppable. What you don't measure, you can't fix. Track your habits. Track your progress. Write down what you commit to and whether you actually did it. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. When you write it down, you see your truth. You see where you're lying to yourself, where you're skipping, where you're hiding. And once you see it, you can own it. If you don't track your life, you'll keep reliving the same week over and over, calling it effort. Track it, face it, grow from it. Here's the part people skip. Discipline needs a why behind it. If you're just grinding for the sake of grinding, it turns into burnout. But when your actions are tied to a deep purpose, when every step you take is fueled by a mission, you become a force. You're not waking up early for fun. You're doing it to build a future your kids don't have to recover from. You're not staying consistent for a six-pack. You're doing it to build a mind that doesn't break under pressure. Purpose turns pressure into passion. If you're struggling to stay disciplined, reconnect with your fire. Reconnect with the reason that makes quitting painful. This is where you choose. Right now, every time you reach for distraction, you feed the dopamine monster. Quick pleasure, fast reward, no effort, but every time you reach for discipline, you build something that lasts, something with weight, something called legacy. Legacy doesn't scream, it's quiet. is built in the dark. It doesn't give you a hit of pleasure. It gives you a life of meaning. So ask yourself daily, am I chasing dopamine or building legacy? Because you can't have both. There's something different about people who stay disciplined. You see it in how they move, how they speak, how they carry themselves. They don't talk about what they're trying to do. They do it. And that confidence, it's not fake, it's earned. When you follow through, you walk taller. You look people in the eye. You don't seek validation, you radiate certainty. Staying disciplined isn't just about results. It's about presence. It's about becoming someone you respect. Every time you show up, you send a message to your brain. This is who I am now. Over time, that message becomes truth. That truth becomes belief. That belief becomes identity. You're not lazy anymore, you're focused. You're not inconsistent anymore, you're locked in. And the best part, once your identity shifts, your behavior stops being forced. It becomes natural. You don't have to convince yourself to show up, you just do, because that's who you are. When you get disciplined, it's not just your body or business that changes. Your entire world upgrades. Your relationships improve because you're more grounded. Your finances improve because you're more intentional. Your peace improves because your habits are aligned. Discipline isn't just personal, it's relational, it's generational. When you rise, others feel it. You give permission to your circle to level up. You become the standard. And when you become the standard, you become the shift. Respect isn't given, it's earned through daily consistency. Peace doesn't fall from the sky, it's built through alignment between your values and your actions. Power doesn't come from dominance, it comes from self-mastery. All of it earned. Not overnight, not on weekends, through reps, day by day, choice by choice, the hard way, the real way. When you stay disciplined long enough, something switches. You stop fearing challenges, you crave them. You stop dreading work, you embrace it. You stop needing permission, you become the permission. You become relentless. And when you become relentless, the world doesn't know what to do with you because you're not chasing the game anymore, you're controlling it. The lazy version of you has had the mic long enough. It's time to stop giving that version a voice. Stop making deals with weakness. Stop acting like your comfort is your friend. You know what it costs. Missed deadlines, broken goals, lost years. From this point forward, there are no more negotiations. There is only action. You weren't born to blend in. You weren't created to settle. Deep down, you know that. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you feel stuck, because your actions don't match your potential. But the truth is, potential means nothing if you never activate it. So stop playing small. Stop shrinking to fit comfort. Start stepping into who you really are. You were built for impact, for greatness, for excellence. So act like it. Excuses have run your life long enough. Burn them. Burn the idea that you need more time. Burn the lie that you're not ready. Burn the belief that someone else has it easier. Light the fire that says, I'm done waiting. Discipline is the match. Action is the flame. Strike hard. Let it burn. It's not about being disciplined when it's easy. Anyone can do that. The real test, staying disciplined when no one claps. When it gets repetitive, when you're tired, when life gets loud, that's when it counts the most. That's when the future is shaped. That's when you become unbreakable. So when it's hard, show up. When it's boring, lock in. When it's lonely, keep pushing. Don't stop. This isn't about losing freedom, it's about taking it back. Discipline is how you reclaim your time, your potential, your life. It's how you say, I'm no longer letting weakness run the show. So take it back. Take back your energy. Take back your consistency. Take back your power, because it's always been yours. You just have to stop giving it away.